There is no investigation. This boy has.
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna
the
do
boy.
what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has.
is not, really? It is to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, it's real tough.
Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It is 5 after 4, Friday, May 13th. That's right, Friday the 13th. If you're into that kind of thing, and if you are, stay away from me because it creeps me out. How is everybody doing today? It is so good to be here. Everybody ready for the weekend? I know that everybody's got big plans. We're heading into summertime here soon, and hope you're out there doing your thing, grilling and just having a good time. It's getting warm outside. So thank you for being here. How is everybody today? Why don't you go ahead and say where you're from on the way in? Always fun to find out where everybody is coming from. Let's see. Somebody just said I was born on the first and last Friday, the 13th of 2022. Thank God. We got Western Massachusetts in the house. Let's see here. East Tennessee. Good to see East Tennessee. I mean, what a place that is, right? Unbelievable. All good up north. All right. Central Texas, you're going to be sweating soon. Upstate New York. Very good. Hershey, Pennsylvania. I remember, I don't know if you're the same Hershey, Pennsylvania that was here before, but I remember asking if chocolate was cheaper there, and that was like such a dumb question to ask because why wouldn't they jack the prices up? By the way, has anybody, is there an end to this gas price gouging? Oh my goodness. I saw it 6.5 now here in Northern California. Unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Coastal Georgia. It's you then. Yeah, $6.5. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes. I would imagine most people that are watching this show yesterday watched the interview room with Chris McDonough, and yours truly was on there along with Mary Hartman. And from my perspective and my feelings was such a fantastic show. Shows like that don't come without controversy and people wanting to have their say. All's fair, apparently, on the internet. You can say anything you want. And I wanted to go over some of the things that we talked about yesterday and explain kind of how I feel about the situation at hand. And, you know, when we're talking about Don, I understand that Don is a liar, a cheater, a whatever, a gaslighter. You can call him whatever you want. He's a million different things, none of them good. There's not many redeeming qualities about him. Now, parts of that phone call weren't new, but there were parts that were. And as Don goes in to talk about these horrendous places that he's been, you kind of go, well, you take everything that Don says with a grain of salt. You take everything that he says with a grain of salt because you don't know what is the truth and what is not. But my takeaway from this is that Don is somewhat truthful to an extent. So it's hard to discredit what he's saying completely, but you can never believe what he's saying fully. It's one of those things where he gets up to the line and pulls back. Okay. That's what he's doing. So he wants to make himself seem, he likes to make himself seem like he's very innocent in everything. And as he goes on to tell Mary, oh, I've been to these places, I've been to this, and I've been to that. Now, we will come back to that here in a second. But I want to, first of all, I want to say, you know, I saw some of the backlash, and it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere, and people come to pick the bones of the shows that are done, and people really want to have their opinion and be heard. And I just want to say this: without Chris McDonough and the things that he has done in the Summer Wells case, there's really nothing to talk about. He's done more for this case than anybody. There are people that believe that we do more harm than good, a very, very small amount of people, but there are, and that's fine. That's fair. You're allowed to feel that way. But when I start hearing people say, well, he doesn't know what he's doing, or they don't know what they're doing, please believe that everything that is done is thought out and calculated. It's not reckless. It's not careless. Nobody is being put in danger because of it. TBI watches. You got to understand this. You got to understand this. And here's a perfect example. Okay. If you have followed any other cases, and most people don't in the true crime community, it's summer centric at the moment, even though there's really not a lot going on. Even though there's not a lot going on, other than, parents hiding and being quiet. The thing about what is being done and what has been done, and, I'm peeling the curtain back just a little bit, but none of this stuff just happens willy-nilly. None of these things are released willy-nilly. And TBI, FBI, they're all informed. Everybody knows. It's not like we sit on stuff that we think is something that should be handed over. And so the criticism to me, obviously Chris is my friend, and we do a lot of work together. I appreciate him. Him and I have had disagreements before. I'm not his yes man. He's not my yes man. But we get along and we understand each other. And when it comes to investigation skills and, information releasing, I defer to him. I defer to him because he's got the experience, not me. Now, one thing that I do want to say is that if you have followed the Dee Warner case out of Michigan, and like I said, most people don't, they zero in on just certain cases. And one mistake is, people will bury you. You say something wrong. I read something earlier about myself, which I don't really care about, but somebody said that I can't put a full coherent sentence together. Well, I have been doing that for years now. And I believe that I can put a full and coherent sentence together, just like I just did there. And just like I just did there. And then again, like I just did there, period, full sentence. And just like I did there again, period, new sentence. Jesus wept, period. Let's keep going. Another complete sentence. And then another one. And then another one. Okay. Now, I don't even know these people that say these things, but that's okay. I don't mind being bashed. I don't mind being made fun of. That's a complete sentence. Take that one to the bank. Doesn't really bother me. I'm actually kind of used to the criticism. And usually when you receive criticism, at least people are watching. At least you're doing something right. That's fair. At least you're doing something right, I think, or wrong in their opinion. But the fact is that they still watch. But apparently the new thing is that I can't finish a sentence. Okay, good. I just did it. I've been doing it since the start. Now, if you have followed the Dee Warner case from the interview room, I find something. This is while people just sit back and talk and run their mouths, and they do a lot, and that's part of the YouTube world. Chris had a guest on. His name is Billy. He's a private investigator. He's been a lawyer, a judge, been in the military, one of the sharpest guys that I've seen. But let me show you the impact that these men that I am proud to call, friends and colleagues and that we do work together. I'm not anywhere near their league, although I'm honored that they enjoy me, they enjoy the content, they enjoy my insight. But I don't have this kind of pull. I don't have this kind of power. I don't have this kind of insight. I don't have these kind of skills. But thank God that somebody does. So Chris has somebody on named Billy who's been on his show several times. And he does a closing argument. Okay. A closing argument on Dale Warner, Dee Warner's wife who is missing. The very next day, a new search warrant is executed. Why is that? Why is that? So they're watching the show. And then here's the craziest part. Then you go, oh, hey, Yahoo, I'm on Yahoo. Oh, look who's on Yahoo News. Private investigator on Dee Warner's case says arrest forthcoming. Oh, man. This is like a day or two after this happened. Wow. Look at that. Yahoo News has now picked up on the Dee Warner case. Unbelievable. But that's not it. We're not done. Look who else picked up on it. Oh, man. Who else? That would be Court TV. They both picked up on it. And several other news sites as well. Okay. I just saw somebody say, heard somebody say Yahoo News is a joke. I mean, come on. What is that? Yahoo News is a joke? Well, whatever. It can be whatever joke you want it to be. The fact of the matter is that they executed a new search warrant, and major outlets are now starting to pay attention to this case. That's it. How many other people do this? I don't know any, really. I haven't seen any. Yahoo's a joke. Whatever. Yahoo may be a joke, especially in your world, but that's fine. I'm not saying that it is or it isn't, but the fact of the matter is that's the power that has come from this. From that channel. And the blatant, disrespect of the same people that pick at the bones of this case are the same ones that need Chris and the interview room to continue doing what they are doing. That's it. So, a case that had been fumbled up in Michigan time after time has now seemingly been brought to the edge of busting wide open. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So the criticism about releasing whatever falls short with me, but that's okay. I understand that people don't understand what is happening. That's fine. And if you can't see it, just sit back and relax. I mean, these people are professionals. They know what they're doing. While I was probably in the womb while, these men were solving homicides. Fair enough. Are they perfect? No. Do they make mistakes? Yes. Can they put a complete sentence together? Yes. Can I? Yes. I'm not the end all be all, nor is Chris, nor is Billy, nor is anybody. But the fact is that him mostly, Chris, Billy, Steve, I mean, these guys know what they're talking about. You may not like them. You may not like the way they talk. You may not like the way that they present information. You may think that, I don't know. I get told I'm pretentious, and I get told a lot that I'm also cocky. I don't feel that way, but people are allowed to feel that way. And that's totally fine. I'm cool with that too. But the blatant disrespect of people, and then when you question somebody like you have any clue what you're talking about, is weird to me. How many murders have you solved? How many cases have you been assigned? How many cases that were headed down the toilet that were steered in the right direction because of people like this? Not just Chris. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. I find that amazing. And because they have so much experience, And by the way, Facebook is just a trash pit. It's awful. But I saw somebody on there again, not just one person. I saw like 5 or 6 people saying that because of the show that we did yesterday, that Summer was put in danger, or that Summer could have been put in danger because of us. What? Put in danger because of us? She's been missing almost a year. You think somebody's sitting in their trap house watching YouTube while they're trafficking children and going, yeah, you know what? Too much coverage. That ship has sailed, my friends. That ship has sailed. Nothing I can say, nothing you can say, nothing anybody can say can put Summer in any more danger now than she was 11 months ago. She's been in danger. The first day she went missing, she was in danger. And every day after that, she's been in danger. Do you think that people who have been recklessly reporting on this for months, who throw Summer's name up in every single video they do, Summer Wells case, hashtag Summer Wells, and then you pick from the bones of this case because you have nothing else to talk about? I find that asinine. I find that insane. Put another hashtag Summer Wells in your video with a picture of that little baby's face to draw traffic to your channel or channels, because everybody does it, it seems like. Matter of fact, I stopped putting Summer's name in my videos quite some time ago. I stopped putting her face on thumbnails. I stopped. I never hashtagged. I never did any of that. Never. I just don't. My title today is, has your opinion changed? In the description, you'll find Don Wells' name. You won't find a hashtag Summer. This is the Summer Wells case. But this also isn't exclusively what we talk about. These people that criticize, that's what they do. That's what they exclusively talk about, and have the balls to insinuate that others are putting, that we're being reckless, and that we personally are putting Summer in danger. Did we put Summer in danger? No, we didn't. We didn't. We didn't. There's a lot of people out there that do this. And it's weird. Patriot Wife became a member. Thank you so much. But what I'm telling you is the honey hole is drying up, except for, look, this doesn't change the stuff that came out yesterday doesn't change my opinion about what I think happened. Nothing. I knew about this call, but it's never changed my opinion. But the fact of the matter is, listen to that phone call, and what an absolute train wreck it was. Don says some unbelievable things, and unbelievable is the word to use. Do I think he's telling the truth throughout the conversation? Not really, but I think that he's telling some truth. I think that he is telling partial truths. I think he's gaslighting. I think He's trying to make himself feel better. Oh, Mary, I've been to these places and where they were selling kids, and I was pretty sure that they were selling kids, but I couldn't prove it. Like, what does that mean? What do you mean you couldn't prove it? Why were you there? Why were you there? The fact of the matter is that phone call to me represented the depths of disgustingness that we're going through. The depths that Dawn and Candace will have been to and will always go to. They are willing to do anything for drugs and alcohol. Do I think the phone call yesterday makes me think, did Summer, was she sold by Dawn? No, I don't think that. But is it possible? Yes. Is he capable? Yes. Does he know those kind of people? According to him, he certainly does. But don't sit around and say, well, that was irresponsible, or that was that was irresponsible, or that is going to change the course of the outcome. Because it's not. Summer's been in danger from the day she went missing due to the people who failed her in her life. Because any person who has a child that's missing and says or claims that they've been to a trap house where they sell children, to me, well, that's just disgusting. That's just disgusting. Dawn knows more than he's telling. Dawn is a liar. Candace is a liar. I don't think anybody's disputing that. The purpose of the call isn't necessarily, in my opinion, about a new theory. It just shows you who we are dealing with. And you know what? When things go quiet, sometimes we can't forget. Don's been quiet for a long time, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't know something, or that he did something, or that he is whatever. It's chess, not checkers. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And you must sometimes shake the bushes. I find it disgustingly weird that people pick and pick and pick, but have no problem criticizing while profiting. And I don't even have a problem with the whole YouTube and people that want to make videos and cover these cases, but maybe some people could sit back and learn a thing or two. You could learn a thing or two. Instead of thinking that we all have it figured out. I've learned so much. And by the way, do you think, I hear this all the time, say Muscles and Mascara, Josh, thank you always for showing integrity. You care for these children and sharing and showing your love and heart. You and Chris absolutely make an incredible duo, but I have always been a huge supporter of you just because you are always honest. Muscles and Mascara, thank you very much for that. That's very sweet of you to say. Thank you for your continued support over the last year. Also, it straight up contradicts what Don Wells said in his call to Chris. I wish I did know of people who were selling kids, saying it like he'd never heard of it. Yeah, add some more red herrings. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the problem is that when you're dealing with these kind of cases, there are people who are experts, that are trained, that have knowledge, that know how to work. Nobody's moved this case forward more, in my opinion. And I hear this all the time. And I'm telling you this right now. Okay, I hear this all the time. You're Chris McDonough's lapdog. You're his cheerleader. You're his blah, blah, blah. No. Here's what it is. I see a man that has integrity and an expertise that I admire. I get along with him. We laugh a lot. We talk a lot. We're friends. We're friends. I could go somewhere else and do something else. I don't need to do this. But I feel like I'm part of a team, a winning team. When I say winning, meaning we're getting stuff done. And my attitude could be, you know what? I don't need to listen to this. I don't need to listen to that. But you know what? I've learned a lot in my life by just shutting my mouth and listening to somebody when they're telling me something. And then after they tell me it, I take that information and I do what I want with it. I do what I want with it. Do you think Chris is the first person that's ever said, hey, like, let's do a show. Let's do a show together. No, of course not. Of course not. But, I keep my mouth shut when I'm talking about things that I don't really understand. I want to listen and learn. That's it. I want to listen and learn. I don't think that that's such a problem. It's nice to have somebody that, is a bit more seasoned at life. No offense, Chris, if you're watching. When I say seasoned, I mean older, because you're old. You're not old. You're young at heart. But I've learned a lot. And you know what? He's learned some stuff from me too. More so on the technical end, but that's really it. I'm not going to teach him how a criminal's mind works. But people pick the bones and have no problem. I mean, we're talking about, oh my God, he was so reckless here, or somebody was so reckless there, or this or that. And it's just like, dude, if you knew half of the stuff that we discuss and talk about, if you knew half of anything that was going on, all the time and energy spent on this stuff, because people care. You can ask Chris yourself. I've told him that I didn't agree with something before, or a few different things. And he's also told me, no, don't go there. Don't go down that way. That's not the right, you're thinking wrong. And then I go, what? No, I'm not. And then I rethink it. I said, well, maybe I'm not thinking wrong, but let me just work through this thought here. It's not a yes man scenario. It's not a, this person's right, this person's wrong. And What good does it do to just criticize people who actually genuinely want to help? This man rolls around in an airstream around the country doing whatever he wants. He does not have to do this. And sometimes I go, I don't know why you do. I don't know why you put up with some of the stuff that you have to deal with. But he seems unfazed at all times. I'm the one that gets upset about it all the time. I'm the one that gets upset about it. I'm the one that has to be talked off the ledge. You know how often I just want to cut loose? All the time. All the time. And I get talked off the ledge. And I'm really good at it. Like I'm really good at just letting it fly. I really am. But that doesn't help. It may be entertaining and you might laugh, but it doesn't really do anything for anybody or any cases. Or, here on the lab, we don't just talk about cases. We talk about all kinds of stuff: mental health, loneliness, forgiveness, all kinds of stuff. I remember one of my favorite shows that I've ever done was the show called The Ugliest Woman in the World. And before people even watched it, they would comment, "What kind of title is this? I am so angry. I haven't even watched this yet. I am so angry already. How dare you?" And I'm like, dude, I didn't make that title up. Got it from somewhere else. One of my favorite shows, one of the greatest stories I had ever heard. And there were people that were upset by the title. Fair enough. Whatever. The title was there for a reason. Don't think that I don't put some thought into it. I didn't put "The Ugliest Woman in the World," hashtag Summer Wells, picture right here, ding. No. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. Matter of fact, I used to. I had put Summer's picture on thumbnails and in the title. I gave that all up. I can't do that anymore. Enough people do it. I'm done doing that. I don't need the Summer Wells case to continue. I can talk about a lot of other things, whether there are people out there that don't like my content, don't like me, whatever. They don't have to watch. But when this case is done and solved and in the books, and yes, I do believe that will happen. What happens then? Oh, well, they'll just go pick up on the other cases that the other big channels cover. That'll happen. That's what's going to happen. This Dee Warner case is fascinating in a terrible way. Barry Morphew, Maya Millette, San Diego PD thanked the Cold Case Foundation for all their work on the Maya Millette case. You think that Chris and Billy weren't a part of that? You don't think that they had any part of that at all? They definitely did. These people don't cover stories until we cover them. You saw a hornet's nest get kicked up last night because of the show. Happens all the time. It happens all the time. Michael Vaughn. We did a show on that. Boom. A lot of criticism. There were others that picked up on these cases. Don't get me wrong. There are others that have done these cases that may not have the reach that a show like The Interview Room has. And God bless them for covering all these cases, no matter how big or small their channels are. That's not what's important. What's important is the content and to be respectful while we're doing it. That's the hardest part, is to be respectful while you're doing it. I'm telling you, I want to cut loose sometimes. I want to cut loose sometimes, but what good does that do? It doesn't do any good. None whatsoever. What you heard last night wasn't putting anybody in danger. What you heard last night was a survivor taking back power, turning the tides, the old switcheroo. I'm thinking of all kinds of the old switcheroo. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Man, I'm putting a lot of sentences together tonight. It's crazy. Thank you. And I was honored to be a part of it. A part of it. Swampy says, I feel you, Josh. I also want to cut loose sometimes, but it never ends well. That's a fact. I was so impressed with Mary and the survivors in the chat last night. Mary strong, survivor strong. Amen. Don sure was angry with that. That fridge beat the heck out of it. Yes, he was. Lula says, I'm honored to be on your team, Josh. I have learned a lot from you and Chris. First, to always be respectful and classy as possible. And Lulu, one of our fantastic mods, thank you for always being here and supporting. You can't, if you with coffee with a name like that, you're hyped up. I can feel it. I can feel it. I didn't catch you having trouble putting sentences together, and I would, because that drives me nuts. If I would have trouble putting sentences together all the time, I'm probably in the wrong type of forum. Maybe writing would be something better for me. But I digress. Back to Don and his disgusting phone call with Mary, who, by the way, Mary, I think I saw you in here. And once again, you're the best. You're the best. Taking that power back is something that not a lot of people get to experience. And I, for one, have experienced it. And there's nothing more enjoyable that I get to do than talking to somebody who, and advocating for somebody who has been through the things that I've been through as a child, and staring at that person who did the abusing and going, I'm not a little kid anymore. I'm not a little kid anymore. And you don't scare me. There's something to be said about that. I remember being terrified as a little boy. I was jumpy as all get out. Who's this? Where'd they go? Who's what? Where? The door slammed different here. I don't know how to lock the door here. Somebody show me how to lock the door here. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm just telling you what it was. And then at one point in my life, I said, I am not going to be scared anymore. I am no longer scared of you. I was terrified for the first 10 years of my life. And guess what? I'm not scared anymore. They don't scare me. They piss me off. They make me mad. But I'm not scared. You don't know what fear is until you think that your own family is going to come back and finish the job that they started. You don't know what a nightmare is. You don't know what it's like to wake up in the middle of the night screaming because you had a bad dream night after night after night after night. And if you do, I feel terrible for you because I know what that's like. But most people don't. And they shouldn't. Nobody should have to feel that way. But what Mary did was she turned the tables around. And Chris empowered her to do it. He helped her and Jeannie. Do you think that they only talk on his show? I needed somebody to help empower me when I was a kid, and that was my grandparents. And they did. They empowered me. They helped me. They said, there's nothing to be scared of, son. You're going to be okay. And I would say, thank you so much for protecting me until I'm old enough to be able to protect myself. And I'll tell you what, things would have been a lot different for me and my family if I was the person I was today. But the fact of the matter was, I couldn't help being helpless at that time. What Mary did on that phone call takes guts, and it takes being brave, and she was trying her best to get answers out of that scumbag, Don. And I hope that there are the people that are watching this. If you don't take your power back, it will consume you. Your life will never be what it could be, what it should be. Life is worth living. I've had that conversation with myself so many times. I've had that conversation so many times. Just with myself. You're not a doormat. You're not somebody's, for lack of a better term, you're not somebody's toy, or you're not allowed. People can't just abuse you just because they want to. That's not right. And yet they do it when you're most vulnerable. But you're not always going to be vulnerable. You can take the power back. And to twist it into something that it wasn't, last night's show, which, by the way, to me was a beautiful thing to listen to Mary manhandle him into a corner, a sheepish little I was going to say the B word, but I didn't. He turned into quite the little scaredy cat. Didn't he? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Good for him. He should be scared. Watching somebody who had been taken advantage of and then who tried to get something done about it years ago, but was shut off by somebody who was supposed to be her protector. And Chris shows up and says, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you, but you're going to have to do the work. But I'm going to help you. That's all she needed, was somebody to push her in the right direction, somebody to listen, somebody to actually give a damn. That's all any of us need, is somebody to just care, to listen. So how about we do a little bit more listening and a lot less trashing? Because those are the kind of things that get done when you listen, when you have compassion. Mary will be my friend forever. And I'm sure that Chris feels the same way. We all need somebody to believe in us. And Chris believed in these women enough to take the time to help. And the little 45-minute clip that you see of them talking is just a drop in the bucket of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Just a drop in the bucket. That's it. That's all. But to twist what happened last night into something that it's not, shame on you. That's not what it was about. Don't hit me with you do it for clicks, you do it for views. Well, I could say the same thing. You criticize somebody that has a much bigger reach, who's done more than you'll ever do. You should applaud these people that actually care about victims. Because that's what we're supposed to be here to do. Help. I don't have any skeletons in my closet where, I've mistreated people. I genuinely care. There's a million things that I could be doing that are different, and at some point I will. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be on YouTube forever. It's just not going to happen. But I have felt led to this place and compelled to try. I get people reach out to me all the time, and I try to respond to as many as I can. Vet Girl says, look how much CM helped Mary. Just think what he could have done for S if he wasn't stopped. Exactly. And thank you for that as well. I appreciate that. Josh, please never quit. Some people watch, listen to people in their lives, coworkers, the weather person, their kids, anything to take shot disapproval. They think it makes them important. It's just one of those things where when people really want to mess up your intentions, when they want to say things that maybe you weren't, you know, you're not as pure as people think. And none of us are. None of us are perfect. I don't do everything perfect. I took my neighbor's trash can up last night because she's an old lady, and I almost hit it with my car, but like, that's why I moved it up. But I'll take credit for doing a nice thing. I just didn't want, last time I ran into it with my car and it sucked. So I was like, she's got a little hard time getting out here and doing it. So I'm going to move this so she doesn't have to, and I don't hit my car. Two things were done at one time. One, it was selfish of me because I didn't want to hit my car again. But, guess what? She didn't have to walk all the way to the street to pick it up. Congratulations, Josh. I nailed it too, man. I run into like little stuff like that all the time. It's really weird. Like, okay, well, when I say little stuff, I have ran somebody over before, but it was their fault. But that's a story for another time. Yeah, that's a story for another time. When I say ran somebody over, they didn't go under the car. They actually went up under. Yeah, look, if it's in the way, I'm going to move it. I didn't wake up in the morning and go, you know what? I'm gonna get my neighbor Nancy's trash can. That way she doesn't have to do it. No, it took me hitting it once before and almost hitting it again. And I go, you know what? Let me just help her out a little bit. And then she comes out, she goes, thank you for bringing my trash can up. I go, you're welcome. She doesn't need to know why. Hopefully she's not watching this. But she puts it too close to the pull into my driveway. I'm not going to tell her not to do that. The reason she does that is because she's older and puts it just a little bit too close to my side because she doesn't want to walk to the other side because she's a little older, lives by herself. Fair enough. So I'll just move it back for her before I run over it again or hit it again. I hit her green can once too. No, I don't, but I can. Oh, I have, but I don't. But like, I killed two birds with one stone. I got Nancy's trash can out of the way, and she didn't have to walk all the way to the sidewalk to get it. And I didn't have to run over her car. Oh, no, wait. I didn't have to run over it with my car, not her car. She doesn't have a car. She's actually a really sweet lady. It's funny. But, she's like, Josh, thank you so much. I'm like, you're welcome. I did it out of the goodness of my heart. But not really. I mean, I didn't do it out of the goodness of my heart, but if it helps her, it helps me. That's all that matters, right? I mean, it's just, I don't know. Good old Nancy. But yeah, I have ran somebody over before. All right, I'll share the story. So I'm getting ready to turn, take a left. There's a humongous taco truck like parked on this street and I can't see. So I'm pulling out. I'm looking. And I'm like, you know what? I just got to go for it. Bam, I hit the pedal. As I'm pulling out, a lady comes running across the road, not in a crosswalk. She just takes off running as I'm turning left. Bam, she hits the side of my car and she flips up over it. Both of her she was a normal lady too. Her high heels went flying. And I was like 16. I just got my driver's license. It was like sucked. And I was like, oh my God, she's dead. I said that out loud in my car. She wasn't dead. She was fine. But that's what I thought. I was like, oh no. Oh no. I get out and I was like, are you okay? And she's like, you just ran over me. And I was like, I know. It sucked. She was fine. She got called the ambulance. I think she might have even refused to go to the hospital. I don't know. But yeah, she was fine. I don't know how she was fine, dude, because she went flying. She went flying, dude. And I just remember stopping and like turning around going, I just killed somebody. I just ran somebody over. I just ran somebody over. Yeah, she was completely fine. Like she might have had I think she bruised her knee. I don't know. I'm not really sure what happened. She bruised her knee. I don't know if she went to the emergency room. I really can't remember exactly. I can't remember. But yeah, so I ran somebody over. Sucked. Jenny Penny says, put a 1 in the chat if you've ever run over another human. There's my 1. That's exactly what I did. I ran over another human. It was awful. I ran over a fully dressed Harley once. Really? So I ran over a mailbox. I've done that too. Yeah. Oh, yesterday? Yeah, I did say that. That's true. I moved to my poor somebody. My ex ran over his own leg trying to jumpstart a car. Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. Does it count if I wanted to? Yes, it counts. I was upset hitting a squirrel and knowing it was fatal. I mean, I was upset too. I really was. It was terrible. I laugh about it now because it was like 20 years ago. But like, oh, why would my car get taken away? It was actually her fault. At the time, I didn't know that. I thought it was all my fault, but no, I didn't get in any trouble or anything like that. I have driven a truck through a garage before. I rolled an Odyssey, just normal life stuff. Let me see here. A little bit as a new member. Thank you for joining. I appreciate that so much. Thank you guys for being here. Let's do a little less bashing, a little more listening, and have a little bit more compassion. And maybe more people in this world will get help. Thank you for being here. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. You've been listening to The Lab.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has
is not.